home. Don't you dare be sour. Clap for Hammer the point and feel the power. Yes. It's Hammer the Point, the best YouTube show about West Ham United. Yeah, that's right. And it features Ray and friends. You got to tune in right now. Everything related to West Ham United is right here on Hammer the Point.
Oh, what an intro. Even when I'm not feeling 100%, that always makes me smile. And tonight is a special night because transfer deadline day has now sort of finished, apart from if you want to get championship players. I don't know. But very special shout out to my boy, Fo Zizzy. How you doing, Fo? I love you. Any questions? Charlie's going to pop them up. And we're going to answer every single one because I love you, Fo. Don't you worry. You got any questions, you ask. Don't be booing me either. I'm watching. With me tonight, as always, Charlie boy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Slowly getting over the disappointment of yesterday. But, you know, I'm good. Looking forward to an international break. Because I can't lie to you, I do like international football. I'm always about it.
Yeah, I like international football. I like watching England. I don't know why people don't like it. It's like club or country. Why not both? Why not? I get excited on the Euros. I even got excited for the European League because that was different and it made it a bit more competitive.
That's fair.
You know, I didn't understand these friendlies, but, you know, we may do an international show next week. Right here on Hammer the Point. and Mr. YouTube on FIFA right there. I hear you done really well, Tom. How are you doing?
Yep, thanks, Ray. Really good, mate. Yep, just lost in the 120th minute, but no, I'm calm. I'm good. Not pissed off.
Oh shit! I was told you was winning.
I was hurrying to get here on time. And then I ended up conceding. It's just a joke. It's a real joke.
I win. That's what I do.
Well, if you want to see, Tom, where's your YouTube show?
Where's my YouTube show? Where's my YouTube channel? I don't know. Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah.
If I go in the live chat and I can comment, and then you can click through.
Oh my god! Look at that! Any opportunity he get, look at that. He just all he had to say was the word Tom Atherton out loud or Athers 32, and it would.
Yeah, but I don't know if it shows up like that.
It does. It shows up as the word Tom Atherton, but if you type in Athers 32, it does come up. But look at him. He can't look at him. Look at the clicks. He wants them subs, Ray. He wants them.
But you got to do a bit of self promotion. You know what I mean?
Disgraceful behaviour.
What can I say?
Didn't even win his match.
I don't get notifications when you're on, so I need to.
You sort that out, mate. You sort that out.
He's a loser. Well, while Tom is doing that, let's get on with the show. Today, I've got a special
There you go. Go sub to that.
I actually made a bit better this week, unlike previous.
It's poor. It's poor from me.
It hasn't come up yet on my one. Yeah.
Oh,
right, so
Hannah
the Point. Look at this PowerPoint. Oh, can you not see it, Tom?
Yeah, I can see it. I'm good.
Come on, you PowerPoint. Let's go.
Yeah. Right. So, transfer window yesterday. It was shocking. Like, it was depressing. Well, we had a scattergun approach. But let's talk about the ins and outs. Because apparently we spent 20 million in the January transfer window. That's what it said on Sky Sports. It said we was close to the bottom, but we spent 20 million. And that is because of Thomas Souček costing us 15 million from Slavia Prague. It's a bit of a cheat considering he was already here. Charlie, what do you think about the ins? Let's talk about the ins before we go on to the outs.
I mean, they're both great. I mean, I don't know if Vlad's going to turn out to be great. But Souček was an excellent signing, and Vlad for that much money, you can't really complain too much about, I guess. Bit concerning that it's literally a bit concerning that one came in 6 months ago and has already figured out that we're in such a state that he had to recommend his mate to come in instead of actually any sort of scouting or any sort of backroom knowledge whatsoever. But I mean, in terms of those two players specifically as personnel, I can't complain. I'm happy with both of them. I think they're both decent enough players. Not exactly anywhere near the Red Bull model or whatever you want to say, but I do like them. I do think they're happy. Obviously, there's just nowhere near enough players in that category. But those two specifically, good.
Yeah. Tom, what do you think?
Shocking, really. I mean, I don't know what went through their minds yesterday in terms of outgoings more than incomings, just to keep some bodies in and around the first team. I don't know if it was, I thought they were maybe trying to get the books or the wages off the books. But to get rid of Jack Wilshere, and you're spending £4 million just to get rid of him, and you're only signing a right back for £5 million, which pretty much would have kept him on the books for 20 grand a week, and you're getting rid of a midfielder in Josh Cullen that could have just, and I know he wants first team football potentially, but tried to persuade him to stay until the end of the season just to keep him around as a body, and let his contract run out, and then tell him that he could have moved on for free. I don't know. It just, I've said it so many times, so many other people have said it. We are one injury away from just a catastrophic meltdown potentially, depending on where that comes. We are so threadbare as a squad right now. It's not even funny how badly it could turn for us by January, especially with all those congested fixtures. And I know that people, and I've seen people that will come out and say, "Oh, well, Moyes likes the squad that he had, and he wanted to keep the same players, and he doesn't trust the players on the bench and stuff." That's all well and good. That's fair enough. I get that. And some will say, "Oh, well, just spend no money rather than all money," or something like that. But what happens if we get an injury going and run into Christmas when you're playing 3 games a week? Like, it doesn't take a genius to work out that we need squad positions in depth in certain areas of the squad. Like I said on my video I did earlier today, we must be the only Premier League club to have, 18 players on its books now, 3 of which are goalkeepers. That's 15 outfield players in the first team alone to play. To be honest with you, it just baffles me. It baffles me, but you can't mention anything bad about it because you'll get pelters for it. But hey, what do I know?
Yeah. Charlie, what do you think of the outgoings?
I just feel I wouldn't have a problem with them if there was incomings to replace them. We almost got relegated last year. Now, I think we underperformed, don't get me wrong. I think if you look at the players, we underperformed as a team in terms of just we shouldn't have been in that position. But we still were. And so what that requires then is the board to step up and invest in the team. Now, if you really don't have any money, so you need to sell people to be able to invest, fair enough. That's what they said about Grady Diangana. Fair enough. I disagree that had to be the case, but fair enough. I'm not going to argue with them on that. Mainly because I don't have to. Because now I look at it and I think, you didn't invest. We're here. No, and it wasn't just Grady, although Grady's the obvious one. We invested in getting rid of Jack Wilshere. That's just losing a body for no reason. Literally no reason. He's just no longer here in a situation where we sort of need centre mids. Josh Cullen went for 800k and he's probably on 10 grand a week. Why are we saving? Where's the saving there meant to be? What is this? What is this going on? They were just all let go because they don't want to invest. And that's the frustrating thing. If they had let them go and then truly replaced them, fair enough. But it's just madness. It's just utter madness. Let's look at Jack Wilshere, right? So you can also make the argument that, okay, well, they needed to do it while the transfer window is open so they can have the funds to go and buy the championship players. There's 2 things to remember. That the first thing is we could have waited a month or a couple of weeks till the championship one is over to let go of Jack Wilshere anyway, because it's not like a championship team's going to snap him up. Let's be real about it. And even if he's on a free, he can sign anywhere at any time anyway. Secondly, the market we're now shopping in is tiny. Because usually, I'm going to give you a famous example. We wish to conclude this deal ASAP, or we will loan a player from PSG. That's what David Sullivan was saying when he was trying to get William Carvalho in that email, right? So now, instead of doing that, he can't. What's he going to do? Let's say we're going after Benrahma, right, from Brentford. What's he going to do? He can't say, it's not that fast. We can just go buy someone else. You can't. Like, there are other people in the division you can maybe make arguments for, but the pool is so tiny, and all of a sudden, let's say now most clubs in the Premier League have been smart and actually got their business done already in a smart, sensible manner. But let's say 3 other clubs are like in the market for a winger. The second you agree a deal for Benrahma, they're all going to come in as well because it's the only people you can buy. It's madness. None of what they did with the outgoings makes any sense to me. All they've done is completely thin out the squad for no other reason. Like, literally no reason. They've just done it because they could. And it's like, it's just madness. It's just madness.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let me just go through the 2 that has come in. Souček's already been here for 6 months, so I don't really necessarily count him. But I understand you're going to have to count him for that transfer legal stuff. And Vladimir does seem like a good bargain and does seem like a good replacement. So, as Charlie's already said, it must be bad when he's phoning up his mate going, Vlad, you seen Fredericks, mate? You're getting this team, don't you worry. come on down. It's absolutely crazy. With the outgoings, there's 3 that disappoint me the most out of all this. Jeremy Ngakia, Grady Diangana, Josh Cullen. I kind of understand Silva going out on loan. I like that.
Just really quickly, did you see that Jeremy Ngakia won Championship Player of the Month today?
No.
Yeah, we just won Championship Player of the Month for Watford. So,
wow. See, if we sent him out on loan, give him a good contract, and then sent him out on to loan to Watford, I'd understand that. I understand a loan deal, especially, like Diangana. Go out on loan, cut your teeth, then come back and play absolutely outstanding for your mother team, But then we just let him go for, what is it, 12 to 18 million to West Brom, one of our, let's be honest, our relegation competitors. What this also says to me is like, we don't care about our youth team. Come through the ranks. We're going to sell you on. It's see ya, thank you, bye bye. There's no opportunity for if you're a 15-year-old and you've got Chelsea, Arsenal, Southampton, West Ham, Man United coming at you to try and sign you. You're going to be looking at West Ham going, well, you're just selling us. You're just trying to make a profit on us. I'll see you. I'm going to join someone like Southampton or someone with a better youth system will let me play through the ranks. Which is actually crazy. What also upsets me is the fact that we've got rid of Jack Wilshere, not replacing him, but as Charlie's already alluded to, the fact that he's a central midfield, he's going to be playing in the training, so that makes training more competitive. A player like Jack, who's quality, who knows a good pass, is going to bring training upwards. Now, Rice, Souček are going to be playing in midfield against Noble and Snodgrass as their competition.
Yeah.
A versus B training. I like Noble. I like Snodgrass. But that's not a competition. That's not going to raise the game for someone like Rice or Souček. They're going to be thinking training is going to be simple. Where if you've got someone like Josh Cullen, he's got a point to prove. He wants to, get into the first team. So he's going to work. He should work twice as hard. And if we look to what he does in pre-season and in the cups, he looked like a decent player. And I think Anderlecht and no mugs. They got this player. Look at who they've had in the past: Lukaku, Hazard. Who else they've had? They've had quite a few good, famous players.
Czech Kouyaté.
Check you out there.
Legends of the game. No, but they have. It's kind of wild to see. I still can't believe that's happened, if I'm being honest. Like, I genuinely can't believe. Like, him going, I can believe because of the way things have gone previously.
Yeah.
But, like, him going to Anderlecht is just a wild transfer. Like, where the hell did that one come from? Like, Josh Cullen going to... I said this to you the other day, but, like, I always love it when British players go abroad. Like, I'm super for that. Like, it frustrates me that it doesn't happen more often, if I'm being honest. I think step out your comfort zone, really go for it. That was one of the things I was most excited about the Jude Bellingham to Dortmund thing, is I was like getting to see him go and step out of his comfort zone and go to a different league and like hopefully kill it. That's amazing. But Josh Cullen to Anderlecht, what? Pardon? Excuse me, what? Pardon?
The only thing that I could think of that is that if Sami Nasri's still there, right? Maybe Sami Nasri's said to Vincent Kompany, "Oh, you're looking for a cheap English midfielder? Yeah, Josh Cullen's all right. Played with him for a bit. You might be able to get him for free." That's literally the only thing on the strip that I could think of that would say that's why he should go to Anderlecht. Because otherwise, like you said, it makes no sense whatsoever. I'm so happy for him, though.
Yeah.
I legitimately, say it again, we used to get our hair cut in the same place. So I'm happy for him. He's such a nice geezer by all accounts, and I never thought he got his fair crack of the whip at West Ham. So I hope he absolutely kills it out there. But like Charlie said, it's nice to see the English players go abroad and do well, like your Bellinghams, like your Sanchos. It helps the English game when players depart and go abroad like that. So who knows? Maybe he comes back. Cullen is Irish, yeah. I meant British. But actually, hang on a minute. They're not even British.
I was going to say, don't start. Listen, 3/8 of me is angry right now. Do either of you know if Anderlecht are still... Were they the ones who were owned by the same people who owned Charlton at that one stage?
Not sure. I know Charlton just got bought out, didn't they? But I'm not sure if it was...
Because I'm trying to... Maybe that was the connection. I don't know. Oh, the connection is just that he looks like a decent footballer, to be fair. And he was available for next to nothing, so why would you not? But I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Yeah, they're the three that I like Silva to go out on loan to this fantastic Greek team that I've never heard of ever.
I'm sorry, Tommy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but also Tommy.
I'm tired. I'm sorry, Tommy. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I kind of understand a lone player going out, as I said, but I just don't agree. Do you reckon? I did see a conspiracy story on Cole, as I said to Charlie before we went on live, and it is a conspiracy story. So don't. And I do like the conspiracy story. Aliens are real. Just put it out there. Do you believe in the conspiracy story, Charlie, about? They're trying to strip their assets. They're looking to get, as much wages down as they can, then sell it for a higher price. What do you reckon?
No. I just think they're massively incompetent at their jobs. I don't think there's any conspiracy there to look at, really. I think it's one of those things where I was talking to Rebecca about this earlier, but like, I think there's two. When you look at the way they run the club, there's two options. They're either dodgy in that terms of they're trying to get money in their pocket from somewhere, or they're just horrendously incompetent. There's no other options. You can't say they're not incompetent because look at the situation. It's just not true, right? I fall on the side of that it is just incompetence. I do think they're trying to save money. Don't get me wrong. I do think that's very, very abundantly clear, but I don't think it's for asset stripping purposes or for sell purposes like certain people like the tweet on screen are trying to suggest. For me, personally, I think it's a case of they want the club to be self-sufficient. They want it to run and completely self-financed in the same way that, say, Arsenal does, or many clubs do. Really, quite a few well-run clubs. Very few in the Premier League, though. And I think they would prefer that to be the case. Whereas in reality, they're not smart enough to do that. If you're a club like Arsenal, who are self-sufficient and run on their own funds, they also bought an entire statistics company to try and identify talent to buy. Whereas instead of that, they talk to their agent mate and see what kind of deal they can get on getting the cheapest player possible. That's not a smart way of running the club, but I think that's their goal. I don't believe the idea of like asset stripping. I do think they're trying to run the club as cheaply as possible, but I think it's purely for that reason rather than anything else.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Tom? Conspiracy?
I don't think so. I can understand why people think it's a conspiracy. It makes sense. It's a plausible conspiracy. But I don't think they're going to sell for a couple of years yet. I feel like if they were asset stripping in the summer of 2022 or January 2023, I'd say, okay, well, we've just lost like our best players, and now they're selling the club. That would look dodgy to me. So I think it's too young for that. I just, like Charlie says, I think it's just genuine incompetence, top down. I don't see. You can just tell by the way that the transfer approach is the scattergun every summer. This is what happens when David Sullivan is in charge of transfers at this club. I mean, just look at that. It's ridiculous. I mean, the thing is, what makes me laugh the most is when he goes on to TalkSport and he says things like, "Oh well, we've had a bid rejected for Milenkovic, and we won't be going for him, but we've got 30 to 40 million to spend." And it's like, bruv, why are you announcing it to the world? Like, what do you expect to happen the next time that you go in for a player? They're just going to say, well, you've offered us 25 million with 5 million add-ons. We're going to reject it because we know you've got at least 40 million to spend on the centre back. It's like, I just think they are two dithering old men who have just got no clue about how to run a football club, and they've been in ownership for how long now? What, like 20 plus years? Like, it makes no sense to me. They are a pair of just old doylums, I will say, to keep it polite. But yeah, we tried FC.
Yeah, and I can't believe the video that I was seeing about Jim Wright. Oh, we tried, and then 2 minutes before the transfer window finished, he said no, he didn't want to come to West Ham. Don't give me that crap that we didn't know that he didn't want to come to West Ham before then. And like, look at this list. It is crazy.
Do you know what the worst thing about that list is as well, right? Half the names on that list, from Rugani down, so pretty much nearly a third of that list, all of those deals were tried to be concluded within a week of the transfer window shutting. We had that money 4 weeks ago when Grady Diangana was sold. So what on earth have you been doing? Why have you not been pulling your finger out your ass and saying, look, if the manager wants a centre-back, do your business 4 weeks earlier? What do you expect at 10 to 12 on deadline, or 10 to 11 on deadline day, that they turn around and go, he turns around and says no, and then you've exhausted all your options at that point. Pull your finger out your ass. You've had 4 weeks to do it. I mean, to try and attack Duffy, Sark, Kipre, Matvienko in that, and Tarkovsky or Holden or whatever, and then you leave it until 3 days before the window closes to try and sign the rest of those players, and then a surprise when they all either turn you down or don't want to come to you. He's just an idiot. He's just an absolute tool. He really is.
Yeah, Charlie, how embarrassing is that for West Ham United that all them players rejected us? Or most of them.
It's just, I mean, what it should serve to do really is giving them a kick up the backside. Like, I don't know if it was Tom yesterday on the Hammers Chat show that was going on, the transfer deadline day show. I think it might have been Tom or it might have been Gio, who was talking about like that idea of like, how do they see this and not, like, how do they see it? How can they not see it? How can we not see what everyone else does? I mean, like, because there's certain people in there. Tarkovsky probably should have rejected us, right? Smalling ends up going to Roma. Makes sense. Rugani, he's already at Juventus. Why would he move to us, right? Tar, sure. Rudiger, sure. But, like, some of those people are like, yo, they, like, Duffy. Shane Duffy's a wild one. Like, that should have been the opening salvo, as you realise.
This is what cracks me up, is that is the kind of player that we should be attracting. I don't think we're in a position anymore to say, we're not in a position anymore to say, we can sign Rugani. We should not even be entertaining half of the names on that list, because half of them should be playing for top 6, top 7 clubs or up. Well, except obviously apart from Craig Dawson, but that's a story for another day. But like, just be realistic about your targets. That's why if they go into the Championship now and they get a Joe Rodon or someone like that, fair enough. But this summer, all we should have been about was trying to get a few of those players from the Championship that were ready to come up, because there were so many young, exciting names that were there for the taking at cheaper prices. The last 24 hours, I've tried to digest everything, and I've looked at the different people that have signed, and yeah, Jamal Lewis, the Matty Cash stuff, that's really annoying. The one that really, really, really bugs me, because obviously Joe Rodon didn't end up going to Spurs last night, the one that really, really gets me is Ben Godfrey to Everton for 20 million. I mean, that in a couple of seasons, if he pans out to what he should be, which is, a really good English centre-half that should be near the England national team in a few years, potentially going to the World Cup or whatnot. He has such promise, this kid. And I'm not just saying it because, I know someone that knows him and I've spoken to before, just to plug that. But don't you start. Oh, no, that's Adam Franco. I'll let you
That's
off.
Adam Franco.
But this is someone that's value a couple of seasons ago, before he played in the Premier League, was like Liverpool were looking at him for 50, 60 million. The same thing can be done with Joe Rodon, but the fact that Everton didn't announce their transfer business to the world, and this is again when you've got someone like Marcel Brands at the head of your football club, doing it the proper way, and they sign him for as little as that, yet we're chucking 30 to 35 million with add-ons at players that just, would improve our starting 11, but realistically, like I said, of all the deals that happened, I tip my hat to Everton. Obviously, your mates came on the other week, and I'm glad for them that they get someone like that, because we said if they manage to get a centre-half, boy, careful of Everton this year, because they could be a serious contender for getting into top 4. And they went and did that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mind-blowing to me that you can let that one slip through the cracks. But that is what you get when you have just a dithering bloody prune, literally a saggy prune at the top of your football club to try and do business for you. It just it winds me
It
up.
reminds me of the Lescott thing. Like, they signed Lescott, and you looked at him, Everton that is, you looked at him and you went, oh, okay. And then he had that amazing season where he ended up scoring like double figures headed goals somehow in just the Prem alone, because he was just absolutely lethal in the air at corners and stuff while being brilliantly. And then he moved on to Man City. Like, the Godfrey thing reminds me a bit of that, where you look at him and you think, oh, okay, he's going to go on to be bigger and better. Like, and Everton have got him at the right time to do that. Like, the other thing about it is, like, with the Joe Rodon thing, like, they said that, they think he's going to be he's going to be a good Premier League footballer in 12 to 18 months. Yeah, then you buy him now for less money, not in 12 to 18 months when he's going to cost you twice as well. What kind of logic is that? That's lunacy. And that's the thing with, like, Godfrey, is, like, I would make the argument that Godfrey you could say similar things about. Like, I don't think Godfrey is by any stretch the finished article, but you look at him and you think, oh my God, he's going to be great. And then we just let him slip by. And it's so frustrating, because with Joe Rodon, if we go and get him now, that's fine and all. But we could have gone and got him last week, or the week before, or 4 weeks ago when we sold Dean Garner and they said we were going to reinvest that money. That's when you could have gone and got him. Whereas now we're sitting there having to scramble after finding 15 other players. It's mad. And it's like, Tom, like you said, you just said just there, right, about like we could go and sign these players from the Championship. That's what we told we were going to do. They literally said to us, we're looking at the Championship. How many players on that goddamn list are Championship players? That's literally what they said. Now, at the time, I was like, guys, look outside of the Championship. There's other leagues as well. But then again, they only have one scout, so God knows, well, 2 including Thomas Souček. But how many of those players are actually Championship players? You've got Rodon, you've got Dawson. That's it. Every other player from there is from Italy, Man United, just a couple from Chelsea randomly, France. Like, there's no consistency. There's no style. They're all different types of centre backs. Like, there's not a consistent vibe amongst them. It's just madness. And I think that's the problem, is when you look at it and you think, oh, David Moyes wanted a centre back. His top target was Tarkowski, for example, or like Eze before that. But let's say it was Tarkowski. How many of those are similar to Tarkowski? Not many. And I think that's the key here, is probably 70 to 80% of those players were identified by David Sullivan. And they're him and his agents trying to get his thing going, as opposed to actually thinking, or actually listening to David Moyes, or even saying to David Moyes, as opposed to specific targets, what kind of centre back are you looking for? Because it's not like every centre back is the same. That's
what's the most alarming thing, that every single centre back on that list all give you or bring you different abilities. Some are ball playing centre halves, some are no nonsense centre halves, some are just shit centre halves. If you look down at Craig Dawson, like it's It's the thing for me is as well the fact that we clearly know that there's one scout at the club other than Thomas Suchek like recommending you stuff. That for me as well, by the way, if Fredericks had got or injured or hadn't got injured, we probably wouldn't have signed this Soufal geezer.
Yeah.
And again, if he'd had a crap debut the other week and everybody would be turning around going, whoa, why have you listened to Thomas Suchek to bring this in? What a waste of £5 million that is when we don't have a lot to spend. But the thing that annoys me most is if you've got one scout available and you've clearly outlined the fact that you want to go down to the Championship, and surely it would be more readily available for you to either get footage of English players or maybe some foreign players that are playing in the lower leagues or whatnot, especially a manager that sort of made his way through coming up through the leagues at Preston and whatnot. It would make more sense to you, the fact that we've seen David Moyes at games scouting in this country, why you wouldn't just go there in the first place? Why would you just continue to just try and bang on the same drum just to try and... Like, you would have thought in David Sullivan's head, after Rugani and Fofana failed and then Milinkovic failed, you would have thought, right, let's quickly turn our attention back to the Championship. What can I do? Why can I spend my money wisely? But no, let's go for Kaleta Carr, let's go for Tar, let's go for all the other different foreign centre-halves and whatnot. Just go into the Championship. Just go into the Championship. There's players in there that will... Fair enough, they may not be already at the elite level that some of those guys are at, and there's very few there that I would say are at an elite level anyway, but at least you've got the time for them to grow, and we know how we like to, in England, push players' prices up just on the basis that they're English and that they may be good. We've all said it here. The player's price in 2-3 years, if they have a good season, it will be up where like Declan Rice is, because that's just how we are as a country with our young footballers. It is, and if the Red Bull model as well with what you wanted to go with, it's not difficult. It's not difficult. I genuinely think that David Sullivan sits there at night whilst Jack Sullivan sits next to him on his laptop and goes, "Oh, hello, Dan. I've just seen somebody on Football Manager that we should sign next season. Yeah, he's done really well for me there." It's like, oh, just piss off.
I thought you were about to say I could just envision David Sullivan in one of his gaudy, horrendous dressing gowns, sat in his big 4-poster gold bed with his little flipping HP laptop like this. He's got the flipping Football Manager database out. He's having a look. He's like, "Oh, wish Craig Dawson's good in the air." Like, just...
yeah, that's what I mean. He's like, "Oh, what's that? Is he good at Championship Manager? What's this?" And then all of a sudden, on the other side of the room, bloody David Sullivan Jr. is just sat there fucking partying and David Sullivan Jr. Do you know how to run a football club? No, Dad, I don't. Jack Sullivan, how's it going for the ladies' team at the minute? Well, a lot better than you, Dad. You miserable old git. Sorry.
I also like the idea. I know it was just a slip, but I appreciate the idea David Sullivan called it Championship Manager. I just like the idea that that's how far behind the times he is. It's like, Dad, it's been Football Manager since like 2008.
Has it? Oh, what do you mean Michael Ballack doesn't play for Chelsea anymore?
Yeah. I don't know what even to say. Like what you guys have already said, it's just complete and utter chaos. And like the one scat himself, do you not talk to these players and say to them, "Oh, we're interested. Are you interested? Yes, no." Why are we even going this far? The agent must be able to say to us, no. Or unless that's what he's done. Sullivan's done this on purpose. He loves the transfer deadline day. He's on the phone. Agent, can I get this player? No. Okay. Can I get this player? No. Can I get this player? No.
And that's the thing, is the fact that I think he genuinely does sometimes just say that so that the news hits. He'll get it through one of his channels, either through Claret and Shit or Jim White, and they will go out and they'll say, "Oh, well, they tried to sign X, Y, and Z," because he knows he can just fall back onto Will Salthouse and say, "Oh yeah, I'll get you a couple of these guys." But all the while, Will Salthouse has got clients, and he's probably close to a few other clubs in the Premier League that can try and just bat off of them as well. It just it baffles me, because the player one that sticks out to me on that list, and I don't know much of him, this Kaleta Carr, supposedly he's highly rated and whatnot. I don't pretend to know him because I've not seen him play before. He reportedly was very keen on joining, right? Money talks. Souček was playing in the Champions League. Soufal was playing in the Champions League. Some of these guys that we got were playing in Europa League. Money talks, and they came to the Premier League because they want the increase in wages. Fair enough. I mean, this kid could have gone on to stupidly high wages for how young he is. But supposedly he talked to David Sullivan, and all it took was one phone call to realise, I don't want to come anywhere near your fucking club. I want to stay where I am and play Champions League football. Like, why would you allow David Sullivan to speak to, like, oh yeah, well yeah, that's not going to fill you with confidence, is it? Like, just hand it over to someone that knows what they're doing. Like, why did we get rid of Huselos? Why? They I just hate them. I hate them so much. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, mate. And the next one that looks like he's on his way out is Anderson. And he's having a parting shot with the management team and saying, oh, I'm never going to play for this management team again because they're poor top of them, whatever. And let's be honest, Moyes' game plan isn't the best. He may set up a good game, but his in-game ability is not fantastic. What do you think of this, Charlie? What do you reckon?
I think Anderson's confirmed now to Porto on loan.
Yeah.
Tom, do you want to go first? Because I know Ray just said something you agree with there. Well, I think about the idea of Moyes setting up good but not being terrible after that.
Yeah. This is. Firstly, I'll say I wanted Anderson to stay. Right, controversial because people think that he doesn't care, he doesn't play well, or whatnot. Genuinely, I think if he actually played in this system with maybe Masuaku as a left wing back, I actually think he would thrive a bit more down the left hand side and actually would benefit him a bit more than actually having to just shoe in Fornals in that left hand side position just to get him in. But it makes me laugh is the fact that when Fornals drifts inside and he plays in a more central role, or naturally he gravitates to the centre of the pitch, my word, does he start creating unbelievable chances. And he has to stay in the team because he's been brilliant for us so far this season. Yeah. But I think Anderson had something to offer them. That's fair enough. I do think the comments about the Moyes stuff was poor on his part because David Moyes could very well be our manager next season, and then you're stuck in the mud because you've either got to grovel to get back in the team or you're just going to get sold again. So if you really wanted to play for us again, you just kept your mouth shut and you would have gone to Porto and he probably would do very well over there. It's his natural native speaking language. He's playing Champions League football. He's got a dream loan move there. But this is kind of also why it's the Benrahma thing for me that makes no sense. It's similar to Anderson because these guys they weren't going to get into Moyes' team anyway. So why would then we be looking at Benrahma, which is another winger? We already said that we were getting rid of our wingers because we've got too many of them. So let's make us even more unbalanced. Go on, Charlie, you go, because otherwise I'll just reiterate the same bloody points because it's clueless. It's absolutely clueless.
I think it's the cluelessness, right? It's like we had too many wingers, so let's just keep selling them until we need to go and buy a new one. It's like, whoa, we need to think about this a little bit, guys. Like specifically when you look at the Anderson thing, it's like when David Moyes came in and he looked at that squad, originally when he came in January and we went up against Bournemouth and all that, he should have looked at that squad and gone, I've got a much better squad than I did the first time around. I've got some real, genuine, talented players. You look at Henderson, you look at Haller, and you think, if I can figure out a way to get the best out of these players, I can really do something here. And that would be huge for him. Like, that would be massive for him and his career. Instead, what he's done is his insistence on playing the exact same players all of the time has frozen people like Anderson out. Now, like, the idea of him saying that he just doesn't want to play under Moyes and he's still open to play for the club, look, it's one of those things where it's been said, I believe it, but whatever. I just think, how can you as a manager look at Felipe Anderson and someone who prides himself on getting the best out of players, someone who prides himself as looking at a player and going, actually, I'm going to make you perform above your station, and go, do you know what? I'm just going to play someone out of position constantly ahead of you. Oh, you'll get some time in the cups where you'll do really well, but then the second you die, nah. Oh, you need to prove to me that you can play in the Premier League. Here's 2 minutes at the end of a match. Like the Anderson thing is one of the more disappointing ones because you look at it, you just say, it's such a series of missed opportunities and terrible management on every single side. It's just like what are you meant to do? It's frustrating as all hell because the reality is I just think that like he was like, oh, we have too many wingers. We have too many wingers in TalkSport interview, David Sullivan. And then he's just proceeded to slowly chop each and every one of them from the squad. It's like, well, who's going to play on the wing now, silly? Now we've got to go and like we have to sign. Like, say we look at the Benrahma thing. Now we have to sign Benrahma to go and replace Felipe Anderson, who's coming back in a year, and we have to spend that money. That's not wise business. That's bad business. Again, it makes no sense. There is no sense to any of the movements. It's just, it's not even reckless spending. It's reckless cost cutting, and that's the bit that's wild about it. If he was being stupid like he usually is, and running about and spending this money on this player and this money on this player, and just blapping shots in all directions, signing all these random players, at least we're trying to positively move forward. But he's just recklessly chopping the squad down to the point where, however many Tom said earlier, is how many people we've got left in the squad. It's like,
just on that, I want to send a picture to Ray real quick so you can pull it up. I'm just going to send it to you on Facebook so you can potentially try and get it up on the stream.
Go on, Ray. Get on the FB. Come on.
Still would like to say that Charlie hasn't added me on Facebook yet. Bastard.
I've blocked
Whatever.
Tom, have I got you on Facebook?
No, he blocked me.
See? No one is allowed on my Facebook.
No, try and pick that picture up so we can actually see physically on the screen the squad depth for next season. And this is what cracks me up about it, is the fact that when we actually look at the squad depth on paper and people say, oh, well, you know, clearly it's better to sign someone or not to spend money and sign someone. He clearly likes the team that he has. You know, we have 18 players in our fucking squad. 18. 8 players.
We might have liked the squad, and then David Sullivan got rid of half of it.
This is just like, this is bananas. Look at that. 3 of those are goalkeepers. Wow. 3 of those are goalkeepers. Like, what happens if Antonio goes down, right? It says he does a hammy again, right? And he's gone for 6 to 8 weeks. What happens if Allaire, same sort of thing happens? Who are we playing up front at that point? Like, it's comical. You can honestly, just the fact that I can just, do you know what I might do is tomorrow just to have a look and see how many people, how many teams have got a squad full of 25 players that are signed up to ready to play. We must be the only team that doesn't have that. It is, as the person has said there, bare fucking bones, and it is exactly that. It is how someone can even sit there and say to me, because again, I'm going off of what people replied to my video earlier. As you can tell, I'm totally not bitter about it. But it was like, oh well, why is he's happy with the squad that he's got, and it's better to not sign anybody. Like, are you thick? Are you genuinely that retarded that if one of those guys gets injured, you're going to tell me that it's not going to affect us going forward? Like, it just come on.
Well, I mean, like, but that squad is also including someone like Ben Johnson, who's barely played any Premier League football and is still technically a youth player. Like, that's not a senior footballer. Ben Johnson's played how many senior games? 10? If that?
Yeah.
And that's included in part of the list. That's included as part of the list of like
15 outfield players to last you until January.
That's crazy.
That is one of the worst things I have ever seen. Like 15 players.
How many games is there till January?
Well, it must be half the season, I'd say, because I reckon there must be between 14 and 16 games between now and January, because they have to congest it because they started the season late but finished May 14th, and they've got to get Champions League in there. So I think it's congested this side of.
There's 12. So there's 12 games till January, including 6 in December, which is wild.
But this is the thing: we won't sign anybody in January either. That's the thing. We'll wait till January the 31st to even make a couple of signings, if any. So it may even be longer than 12 games, and that's if we even don't. Say we don't sign anybody now while the Championship window's open. I genuinely can't fathom it. It is,
we're supposedly not signing players now because we signed players in the last January transfer window.
I know it's all crazy. And let's look at it next season. Noble's a year older. Who else is in that list? Snodgrass is a year. Yeah. Antonio's a year older. Fabianski's a year older. They're getting to Obama, another player. That's a lot of changes they're going to have to make next season, or invest in them players or in that position. Whereas no way it doesn't sound like a lot of games. I'm going to give him that, but we all know West Ham have about 10 injuries every season.
Yeah,
so we ain't even going to be able to field a team at one point or another.
As Fo said there as well, that's it. So that's the FA Cup now gone. Imagine we don't sign anyone between now and then. he's going to look at that and think, all the kids going out for that one. I can't rely on us not getting an injury. So that's it. So it's another season of just mediocrity or relegation. Like, yeah.
It's a shit time to be a West Ham fan. Now,
and what you said there on Noble and Snodgrass, sorry, what you said there on Noble and Snodgrass, those two got ripped apart by Everton in midfield. Those two cannot play central mid. They cannot play the role that is desired by Moyes to fit in. If this is the system going forward that he wants, the reason that it's been so successful the last 2 weeks is because of the engine that Rice and Souček has in that midfield department. If one of those guys gets down, that's it. Because one will be trying to cover up for two because Noble, Snodgrass don't have the legs to do it. And that Everton game should have been a prime example to say, actually, you know what, maybe we should just keep a couple of players around just in case. Because those two clearly were not it when they played in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Well, I totally agree. And let's just hope if one of them does get knocked down, they get back up again. Well, there we go, guys. Thank you very much for the show. Unfortunately, we're being kicked off early because of Irish Tommy and Chris, the little cheeky buggers.
Bastards.
On my Tuesday.
Disgraceful behaviour. Where are they? I'm going to find him in the chat. I saw Irish Time was here. Where is he?
They heard me complaining and thought, get him off air quick.
They could have come and joined our show. But no, they want to do their own thing, don't they?
Okay. Look at him with his little Kenny thing. God damn it.
Wow.
Disgraceful.
Keep nicking my Tuesdays and I'll come and kill you, Irish Tommy. I won't because it's Irish Tommy. You kill me. But thank you very much to Charlie, to Tom, who can now go back on his YouTube and play his FIFA.
After that discussion, I'm off to slip my wrist.
Oh, don't do that.
Tom Atherton on YouTube. Subscribe.
Yeah. Charlie, how you getting on with your YouTube?
It's fine. I haven't had time to do anything in about 2-3 weeks. So it exists. You can find it. It exists, but you know. Subscribe. I'm more on Tom's than I am on my own, so it's calm.
I'm in a pandemic here, Tim. I'm in a pandemic.
He's got a business to run.
Yeah. Hopefully. Good night, everyone. We'll see you. Go watch Irish Tommy and Chris. I'll be watching them. They're a good bunch of lads. I do actually like them. Bastards for not coming on our show. Fuck.